What's going on, guys? Aarava here, and welcome back to my F1 2017 career mode, episode number 65 today for the Spanish Grand Prix in Season 4, and I always look forward to coming back to the Spanish Grand Prix. A really strong circuit for myself versus the AI car, and obviously the Red Bull car should go pretty damn well around this circuit. Obviously, it's all about the chassis. You know, you see so many times in real life they talk about maybe the opening grid being very 2x2 and very dependent on the car rather than what the driver can do, so very much looking forward to how our Red Bull performs around here. And curious to see how well the Renault car will stack up in the hands of this man, Jolyon Palmer, and also in the other garage, other side of the garage with Nico Hulkenberg there. And we'll see how we go here as we prepare ourselves for practice then to get the resource points. Obviously, having just spent a whole lot of resource points last episode at the end on that chassis weight reduction, which will only come in for, I think it is, next episode. So the Monaco Grand Prix, we're going to have to make do with what we've got and try and earn some more points. But then we move into qualifying, and my excitement for the Grand Prix merely went down a little bit as it was full heavy rain, as you can clearly see, and generally speaking I've not been amazing in these conditions versus the AI, and there's a good chance that we may be a little bit kind of put aback in terms of performance to what I thought we could do. I genuinely thought we could have maybe be going for another pole position, perhaps maybe just a really good strong first or second row if it was dry, but now full wet conditions, very, very tricky, and it's about really just navigating what basically feels like a boat almost, no matter what car you're driving in these conditions. So we set our first lap time there, going for a second one. Sebastian Vettel at the moment going fastest there. You can see gaining quite a bit of time through the first few turns then. So that first lap was kind of like a banker lap, just kind of sussing things out, kind of, you know, pushing on the throttle, seeing when I can go as early as I can on that right-hand side pedal and just kind of feeling it through, and then allowing us to go a bit more aggressive on this second lap. You can see gaining a fair bit of time there up the hill, really being a lot more aggressive on the curbing on the left, trying to go as wide as we can, braking as late as I dare to this next left-hand, a little bit of sliding on the entry and even more sliding on the exit of the final corner. Coming across the line, it's going to be P6 at the moment, but then as we move on to a third lap, we get held up a little bit. I can already feel the dirty end, already getting put off by the spray of somewhat of Marcus Ericsson then as we go towards the end of Sector 1, and in the end I'm going to abort this lap time, and so it was P6, but by the time we finish the session it ends up being P17. Now, a big reason for this is you can see there are a lot of people that eventually set lap times on intermediate. So I spent a lot of time doing that 3-lap, kind of 4-lap sequence of filling up the fuel and just being out there. And in that time, it started to dry up. So by the time I came in and just started fast forwarding a little bit for the last few dying minutes in the session, it rapidly dried out to the point where people set lap times on intermediates. And then you can clearly see now we also made a really, really big rookie error. Once again, it's the second time in one entire season we did it. The last time we did it was all the way back at the Hungarian Grand Prix, I think it was. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, at some point we did this last season only once. We did it a fair few times in Season 1 and Season 2, that's why I'd say it's a bit of a rookie error, but I forgot to change the components, and the internal combustion engine and the control electronics were really worn out, so that wouldn't have helped as well. Even though it is the wets, obviously, so the engine won't matter so much, it still would have definitely affected us down the straight. So really poor showing there, P17, and in the end, actually in hindsight, I should have just taken an extra column of engine parts, but I didn't actually even do that. So yeah, my bad on that. Again, I just kind of, I was so frustrated after qualifying that I just wanted to get straight into the race and get on with it. So another rookie error there. So yeah, a pretty bad day in the office all round so far. So this Spanish Grand Prix has really started like a disaster scenario. So we're going to have to do some real big work in the race to maybe get this up the order. So let's look at that full grid and then let's go towards this race where hopefully we'll be making plenty of overtakes.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Kimi Räikkönen starts today from pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Ricciardo, Nico Hulkenberg, and Perez, Sainz, Grosjean, Ocon, and Daniel Kvyat, Magnussen, Palmer, Felipe Massa, and Stroll, Wehrlein, Bottas, a Red Bull, and Stoffel van Dorn, Ericsson, and Fernando Alonso starts from the back of the grid. And now, it's time to head down to the track.
So it's going to be all sunny here for the Spanish Grand Prix, so it is going to have to be pretty much a pure overtaking fest race, hopefully, for us, knock on wood. We also have some company in that, as I didn't actually mention it. Bottas also got knocked out there, so he got unlucky and caught out in that entire scenario of qualifying there. So both of us looking to make our way up the order. So in terms of our strategy today, obviously filling up a little bit of fuel, the one stop is on for the medium to hard tyres. Now, that is probably going to be the more likely strategy we go with, but you can see at the moment I'm also also maybe tentatively just seeing and opening up my options here. So we're going to click on for the 2-stop, but we're also going to open ourselves up for the 1-stop. As you can see, I could technically just stretch this medium tire I'm going to start on and go to the hard tires. But if I think like my pace is going to be good enough, basically, if I can see the lap times are good enough, I may switch to the 2-stop and then go on the soft tires. We'll have to see. We'll have to see as we go on to 5 red lights then for the Spanish Grand Prix. It's a front row lockout for the Ferrari cars. As the 5 lights are out, we're underway from P17 on the grid, quite some way back from the front row of the grid, and it is a pretty mediocre start actually compared to the cars around us there. Bottas with a really good one, shoots up to the inside between that Sauber and Williams car of Lance Stroll to the inside. Stroll goes 3 wide there with Bottas and Ericsson briefly there. We can see we're being very, very patient, trying to pick my line out, and I pick a really good one round the outside to swoop to the left of Valtteri Bottas, and we're actually maybe going to try and overtake the Finn. You can see Palmer up ahead with Felipe Massa. We both go down the inside. Bottas with a huge dive bomb to the inside of that. That was an even bigger one than I was going to make, and we were just about to control the car there, wrestling it through that right-hander to get ahead of Palmer and Massa. And so myself and Bottas, as I mentioned, my partner in crime pretty much, both of us trying to get up the order, both of us now with some really decent overtakes in only a few corners to the end of sector 1 on lap 1, as now we've moved on to lap 2, and we're still chasing after Bottas and very rapidly going down the inside of him as he's caught behind Dan Fiat there, the Toro Rosso car. Bottas trying to make a move. You saw there the Toro Rosso went a little bit defensive to the inside of that corner as we enter sector 3, and because of that Bottas kind of got put off a little bit. I think he went wide, and so we were able to find the space down the inside. Very easy on the brakes that was, but again I think Bottas got caught napping a little bit behind the Russian. Now we are now trying to overtake in a straight line here down to turn 1. He actually outbrakes us, but he's locked up very, very badly. Yellow flags are out. He's actually gone off there, so no wonder he outbroke me, because he actually completely just missed his brake point there, locked up horribly, and maybe a bit of a brake failure as he's completely gone off now, and he's lost a fair few positions. So we're up into P11 then, but both myself and Bottas, as I said, making good progress, and now we've just swapped positions effectively, and we'll probably continue to make progress as now they're up in smokes goes Esteban Ocon. Amazing scenes now this Grand Prix. Lap 3, and we're up into P10. We're already in the points. What a great stuff for us. It looked like an absolute disaster. I was so down in terms of my mood for what this race could do. You know, a very crucial race where it was so close still to Vettel and Hulkenberg in the championship, and I really was thinking the worst from P17 on a track that, you know, notoriously is quite difficult to overtake on with dirty and, you know, in past Grand Prix I've just not been very, very good. But with the Red Bull now, as I mentioned, it's meant to be a very strong car around this circuit, you would imagine, with the good aerodynamic downforce, and it really is working an absolute treat, because now we're right up the back of P8 Carlos Sainz. We overtook the Haas in a straight line very easily, and unfortunate therefore before with Ocon with the failure, because the Force Indies, remember, from the first 3 seasons have gone very, very well. Force India and Williams indeed have been amazing at the Spanish Grand Prix in the 3 seasons gone by. You know, in a way it kind of almost was like a power circuit around this career mode in a sense, even though in real life it technically really isn't classed as one, I guess you could say. It's definitely more reliant on aerodynamics, but in the game you've seen all the Mercedes powered cars working very, very well. But yeah, unfortunate for Ocon to suffer that failure. So we overtook the other Toro Rosso, Sainz, then, what actually turned out to be a really nice overtake around the outside to the inside then of turn 2 that was on the Spaniard. So kind of ruining his home party there, as he's doing pretty okay for a Toro Rosso car. And we dive down the inside now of the Haas very simply, and we're up into our lucky number P7 then, and so we'll chase after this entire pack. At the moment, Lewis Hamilton in second place. Raikkonen, you can see, just popped off your screen, dominating this Grand Prix in first place there. So this is Hamilton in P2, and he's got a train of cars behind him of Sebastian Vettel. Then you've got Sergio Perez, Daniel Ricciardo, and then Nico Hulkenberg here. And now it may be the other way around with Vettel and Hamilton. Here goes Vettel to the inside to make it once again a Ferrari 1-2. So Hamilton did well to actually break up that Ferrari 1-2 off the front row. And then, as you can see, moving through the Grand Prix, then Perez locking up and holding up Ricciardo somewhat, and that's going to bunch up these cars as Vettel's now streaking away. So the Ferrari car is going very well indeed, as Vettel just very easily waltzes away from Hamilton. But the same can't be said for Perez on Ricciardo's. Ricciardo now is on board with him, trying to make a move around the outside, dives it around the outside. A Ricciardo-esque dive bomb from the man himself, and he feeds it around. A little bit of contact made. Perez just about gives him the room, and that's an absolutely awesome move there for Ricciardo. We've seen some great overtakes ever since the Bahrain Grand Prix. Ricciardo's AI picked up some pace in this season so far. He's made some fabulous moves down the inside there. Awesome stuff, and that actually means that we catch up to this entire pack, because obviously as they're going side by side, they're holding each other up. Hulkenberg, the same can be said for him, as he's kind of held up by the Force India, which is probably a little bit less fast in the corners than that Renault now, but in a straight line, the Force India probably still has it down the straight. So you can see Hulkenberg comes in now on lap 9 as we go on to lap 10. So unfortunately, it's going to be another case of that kind of classic 2017. We get so close to overtaking the cars on track, but then they come into the pit lane. So that always frustrates me because I'd rather make the overtake on track rather than just with some boring strategy work there. But there you go. Once again, the Force India comes in and we've got some clean road. I mean, I shouldn't complain too much because this is going to allow us now to try this one stop out, because you can see now we're in P1. Raikkonen coming out of the pit lane just now on the mini-map there. And we are going to try and stretch this to a one stop. That I mentioned we could just elongate this medium stint, not go to the soft tyres like our default strategy was saying, and then go on to the set of hard tyres. So to do that, we need to go to at least lap 14 to 15 on these medium tyres, and then we'll go on to those orange wall hard tyres right to the end of the Grand Prix. That shouldn't be any kind of quorum. The difficult part really is going to be taking these mediums that long. The hard tyre will go very, very long. It's just about taking these mediums that long and seeing what the pace is like, judging if it's going to be worth it, and really judging how these two go. And the fact that these two, Vettel and Hamilton, continue to squabble as Hamilton tries to re-overtake Vettel now. Vettel's lost a lot of time in the pit strategy there, and I think Hamilton, is he on soft tyres, Hamilton? I think he is, as he goes down the inside, and the two go toe-to-toe. Absolutely awesome, something we haven't seen too much of in the real-life 2017 season. Oh, how sweet it would be if it was the case like this, as they go toe-to-toe in Sector 3, and Hamilton just about barges past Vettel, and he's back up into what would be an effective P2. But as I said, the fact that these two are fighting is helping us out, and at this moment in time, I'm going around the laps, gauging what the gap is to these two, looking at my heads-up display that obviously will tell me where I'm going to come out in the pit order, and trying to judge how my medium tyres are going, and if it's worth it, if this strategy is going to be worth it, and hopefully it will be. And now we move later into the race. Daniel Ricciardo now is closing up on Sebastian Vettel. So like the Russian Grand Prix, as soon as Vettel's been overtaken, he's losing pace, and here comes Ricciardo now flying with DRS to the left-hand side. Vettel goes defensive to the inside for turn 1, but it's useless there. Ricciardo's already got this as they enter the brake zone, round the outside, just like I made the overtake on Sainz. Vettel tries to fight back, no use, and as we're on board, and we stick on board with him, you can see he lifts off quite a bit into this corner, and you can clearly see, look on the left-hand side of his front wing, he's got a bit of his front wing off, so I think he must have made contact with Hamilton potentially, and that's why now he's going slowly. So Vettel compromised now with a bit of damage to his front wing, and now he could actually fall back into the clutches of this man, Nico Hulkenberg as well, who's going very, very strong on medium tyres in that Renault and really dragging that car up compared to Jolyon Palmer, his teammate, who really we haven't seen too much of in this Grand Prix since the start of this race. And so finally now we're back on board with ourselves in second place, still on lap 16 now. So we've taken this even one lap longer than I was suggesting on lap 15. You can see though there is Raikkonen right up our gearbox then, and that is the perfect timing to come in. So we were never going to be fighting Raikkonen there, and by the time he caught up to us, that was kind of the biggest sign for me that, yeah, it's time to come in now. The Ferrari is catching me, and he's already made one pit stop, you know, in front of me, so he's caught up that entire pit stop. So time to come in now, strap on that set of orange wall hard tyres, and now we will be overtaken by Sebastian Vettel, by Daniel Ricciardo, and also Sergio Perez, I believe, just about on the right hand side. You can see there is the flash of yellow also of Nico Hulkenberg, I shouldn't forget, but there is also Sergio Perez. So all four of those cars up ahead of us. So we're going to be out in, I think this should be P6, I think, if I've counted correctly there, P6 behind the Force India, P7 then. So there's another car that I've kind of forgotten. Maybe it's, I think it's Hamilton actually. Yeah, I completely forgot about Hamilton. Obviously he was behind Raikkonen, but we haven't seen him there because he waltzed away from Vettel as soon as he overtook him. So P7, so back where we were basically to square one, but now we're so much closer and we're going to the end of this Grand Prix. And meanwhile, the man, our former teammate Hulkenberg, doing a favour for us, overtaking Sebastian Vettel, slowing him down even more and bringing him back into the clutches of ourselves, as Hulkenberg is now up the order and into technically a podium position. So great stuff there for Hulkenberg, and soon enough we're going to start closing up on Sergio Perez. We've got a lapped car there. We're going to use some slipstream off the Williams car, so in stark contrast to seasons gone by, that Williams really doing terribly at the Spanish Grand Prix. So we now rapidly close up to Perez, lock up on the right tire. Not what I want to do, but you can just see how hard I'm trying to push this car, wrestling it, and that's a save and a half to go complete opposite lock left into that right-hander to save the car. But I'm just trying to push the limits because I'm just really want to push this. I can see Vettel up the road, and so I'm really just trying to get every bit of lap time I can, and in doing so probably losing some lap time ironically by going sideways like that. But you can see now Perez to the move to the outside of Sebastian Vettel. Vettel again poor, obviously he's still got that front wing damage, but he's still got it to the inside of turn 3, and there's been a contact there from Vettel. He swipes across and Perez has to lift off. I have to lift off completely to not slam into the back of the Mexican, and now this is our chance to dive down the inside of the Force India car and try and dispatch him as quickly as we can. Little tap on the rear left tyre, I think that was, from our car, and we're past Sergio Perez, and now we can get on the back of Sebastian Vettel, who's definitely struggling with that front wing damage, but, you know, a little bit dirty from Vettel to tap Perez in the middle of turn 3, really put him off there. You can clearly see Perez had to lift off, and I had to do so as well to not get to the back of him. But you can see as we climb up the hill, you're about to see how much time Vettel's losing now in the corners. Look how much he lost just up that corner, how much more speed we've got. The exit speed is ridiculous compared to him. Round the outside now, DRS wide open. We kept it in standing mixture. We didn't need rich mix. We go round the outside. Vettel puts up a fight though, so obviously Vettel wanting to put up way more of a fight with me than anyone else, clearly, as we were championship rivals last season, so no love lost there between myself and Sebastian Vettel. But you can see we went wide on purpose to squeeze him out, not having that Sebastian, and we've overtaken him fair and square, and now we've got a lot of clean air to go after that man there that just went off your screen, Nico Hülkenberg, in the Renault, and try and spoil his party. He is in a really decent P3 at the moment, but I want that podium. I think we deserve that podium with the drive we've had so far in this race. And I want to say, where on earth is then this missing car? Because I believe it may be Hamilton in P2, then Raikkonen in P1. So I don't know where exactly Ricciardo is. Hülkenberg now comes in. So it's, hey, hang on, it's Ricciardo in P2 then. So Hamilton must have made an extra pit stop. He was actually on soft tyres, actually, I forgot about that. Hamilton was on softs. So I think Hamilton's actually royally screwed that up. He's made an extra pit stop compared to most of us, and he's way down the order now. And I think he's found himself behind all these guys. Yeah, there he is. I think that's him in the background there. Hamilton way behind these guys now, as now Perez sends it down the inside of Vettel to finally try and make this move on the German, as we're trying to get away as desperately as we can. Obviously, our hard tyres versus some worn medium still aren't going to be amazing. But as we come across the line now for lap 23, we'll finally overtake Ricciardo, and we're actually up into P2 now. And so Ricciardo has all the work to do if he wants to try and get us. But remember, we're going to the end of the Grand Prix now. So from what looked like was going to be a disaster Grand Prix for us here at the Spanish Grand Prix, this has now turned into be an amazing day, an amazing race for us up in P2. And we're even trying our best. I'm trying to maybe see if we can catch Raikkonen. You can see setting a personal best lap time there on the top right. And just up ahead you saw that was actually in the distance Raikkonen overtaking this lapped car. Now I was kind of praying that Raikkonen got held up even more by the lapped car. And you can see he's closing right up to him now into the end of Sector 1. But by the time we get to Sector 3, he's overtaken him. And now we're going to be the ones that get held up a little bit by Marcus Ericsson. So you can see he's still there. So we've done actually really good to be this close to Raikkonen. Like, you know, remember, we're in P17 and now we're this close to the race leader doing a one-stop here at the Spanish Grand Prix. Something that I've never thought was possible for us in the previous seasons gone by, but with the Red Bull car, with the pace we've had, you know, the downforce we've had, we've made it work, and we get past Ericsson. He did hold us up, and that pretty much confirms to us that we probably will only be getting a maximum of P2. I say only, though, that's going to be absolutely flipping fantastic. So now, we're now looking at a fight between Daniel Ricciardo and Lewis Hamilton. You can see the McLaren car were holding up Hamilton quite a bit, and now Ricciardo right up the gearbox of Lewis Hamilton now. And at the moment, Hamilton is holding on to the last podium position, P3. So this is Ricciardo trying to join me on the podium, which is still going to, I'm going to say, a very weird thing to say, really, considering the circumstances of this race. But there you go. Ricciardo now trying to make this work. Maybe trying to put off Hamilton as he keeps so close as they run up towards the hill. I don't think he'll have enough to get him down this main straight, down this back straight. He'll have to wait till the main straight, I should say, onto the pit straight now. DRS wide open the second time on the lap. But here he goes. Much better slipstream now. Much better speed on the right-hand side, and he's actually got him before they even start braking there. So fantastic pace from Ricciardo, probably up into rich mix, you got to say, and now he's off and away in P3, and actually he's going to end up chasing after myself, just like back at the Bahrain Grand Prix. I go into a bit of cruise control, and that allows Ricciardo to catch up a little bit. As we move on to lap 27, you can see another lapped car kind of forcing us to go to the inside quite awkwardly, locking up there, but I'm just really not pushing too much at this stage of the Grand Prix, even though I'm setting the green lap time there on the top right. I'm really not pushing that much with any urgency, and by the time we get onto the dying stages, the last lap of the Grand Prix this will be, as we move on now through the final corner, Ricciardo is right up our chuff, so it's going to be another opportunity for Ricciardo to maybe spoil our party, but I think I have this under control. We have rich mix to burn, and it's really just a case of I didn't turn on the wick, and now I will into turn 1. Ricciardo tries to go around the outside, we go to the inside, going to squeeze him out, and that's going to be a pretty simple move for us there. Just like I said, I think we had it in our back pocket pretty much the entire time then, and so we come through the final corner then, and it is going to be an absolutely sensational P2 from P17. P2 from P17. Absolutely champions drive, that is. We are the reigning world champion from Season 3, and that is a champions drive. P17, P2, in Spain. Absolutely awesome, absolutely awesome. And Sebastian Vettel down in P8. What a woeful race for him compared to last time out the Russian Grand Prix, winning the damn thing. So just showing once again, like I mentioned at the end of last episode, he's so inconsistent, Vettel is. You know, he's still got the pace, but he's very, very inconsistent. And now this man, Raikkonen, who's been pretty, not on it pretty much for the start of this season, is back there on the top step of the podium there. Of course, last season he started a resurgence very, very late. This time round, he's not having the same poor luck, and he's got the win now here at the Spanish Grand Prix. But absolutely awesome double podium then for the Red Bull Racing team. That will see us up into the lead of the Drivers' Championship now. Vettel down to P2. Hülkenberg stays put in P3, but you can see Raikkonen now jumps both Mercedes guys up into P4. So good day for the Finn, as well as our teammate Ricciardo, who finally gets up into P7 to join our little bunch group. So now we've got 2 Red Bulls, 2 Ferraris, 2 Mercedes, and that 1 Renault of Hülkenberg in the top 7. Great to see. You can see we stay put though in P2. Ferrari do a good enough job to stay P1 in the constructors there, but I'm confident we can maybe try and do something in the next Grand Prix. Monaco is going to be a great one for us, hopefully, as a team Red Bull. Of course, another track with high downforce, and hopefully that's going to be a place we can perform quite well. But you can see, unfortunately, just not enough resource points to do anything, but I'm basically just taking a look at the R&D tree, just trying to suss out maybe what we do next, and I've got my eye on that major drag reduction on the aerodynamics that we did, the same upgrade that we did in the Renault car in Season 3. I have my eye on it for the Red Bull car. I think that could go quite a treat with this car. But anyway, guys, if you have enjoyed this episode, smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And if you're not here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula content. I've been Aarava. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.